While trade talks around Kirk Cousins and Kyle Pitts have become familiar offseason fodder for the Atlanta Falcons, a new and rather unexpected name has surfaced as a potential trade candidate: veteran defensive lineman David Onyemata. This speculation comes from Christopher Knox of Bleacher Report, who recently included Onyemata as an honorable mention on his post-minicamp NFL trade block big board. While Cousins and Pitts were also on Knox's list, Onyemata's inclusion raises eyebrows given his established role on the defensive interior and the team's apparent needs at the position. Knox's general reasoning for his trade block candidate centers on the post-June 1st contract landscape, which makes some deals more financially palatable for teams, and the period where franchises look to fill roster holes identified during OTAs and minicamps. However, the case for Onyemata being actively shopped by Atlanta seems thin. The Falcons had an opportunity to release the 32-year-old defensive tackle earlier this offseason for significant cap savings, but chose to retain him. This decision, coupled with the departure of fellow veteran Grady Jarrett and a lack of major additions to the interior defensive line this spring, suggests Atlanta views Onyemata as a crucial piece for the upcoming 2025 season. Trading Onyemata would appear counterintuitive to the Falcons' current trajectory. The team seems to be operating in a win-now mode, with considerable pressure, particularly on general manager Terry Fontenot, to deliver a playoff appearance. Weakening a key defensive position by trading a proven starter like Onyemata doesn't align with that objective. His experience and production are vital, especially given the existing questions about depth along the defensive front. While an early season trade seems highly improbable, the situation could theoretically change if the Falcons find themselves well out of playoff contention by the NFL trade deadline. In that scenario, acquiring future assets for a veteran player might become more appealing. However, for now, Onyemata is expected to be a fixture on the Falcons' defensive line as they push for a successful 2025 campaign, making his inclusion on any trade block list, even as an honorable mention, quite surprising. It's a surprising mention, to say the least. What are your thoughts on David Onyemata as a potential trade piece? Do you see any scenario where the Falcons would move him this season, or is this just off-season speculation? Let us know your opinions in the comments below. Ultimately, while Christopher Knox's inclusion of David Onyemata on a trade block list sparks discussion, the Atlanta Falcons' current roster needs and competitive ambitions make a move involving the veteran defensive lineman seem unlikely as they gear up for a critical season. The Atlanta Falcons' decision to aggressively trade up for an edge rusher in the 2017 NFL Draft stands as a stark reminder of how a single draft misstep can haunt a franchise for years, especially when a future Hall of Famer is selected just picks later. This move has been identified by Christopher Knox of Bleacher Report as the Falcons' worst trade of the past decade. Fresh off their painful Super Bowl 51 loss, where a lack of pass rush was glaring, the Falcons were determined to find an impact player on the edge. They made a move, trading up from the 31st pick to the 26th, leapfrogging teams like the Pittsburgh Steelers, who also needed pass rushing help. The cost for Atlanta was a 3rd round and a 7th round pick. Their target, UCLA defensive end Takk McKinley. Just 4 picks later, at number 30, the Steelers selected T.J. Watt. The fallout from this decision was significant. McKinley's tenure in Atlanta was underwhelming. While he showed flashes, recording 13 sacks in his first 2 seasons, he managed only 17.5 sacks in total for the Falcons and was waived before completing his 4th season. In stark contrast, TJ was become one of the most dominant defensive players in the NFL, a perennial All-Pro, and a future Hall of Famer. The what-if scenario is a painful one for the Falcons faithful. This trade and the subsequent failure to develop McKinley into a consistent impact player, along with similar issues in cultivating talent like Vic Beasley, marked a turning point. It contributed to the eventual end of the Dan Quinn and Thomas Dimitroff era in Atlanta. While the trade itself, in terms of draft capital given up, might not seem as catastrophic as some multi-first-round deals for quarterbacks seen around the league, the opportunity cost of missing on a generational talent like what, while investing in a player who didn't pan out, was immense. McKinley's production declined sharply after his initial seasons, managing just 3.5 sacks in 2019 under Quinn, who had also taken over as defensive coordinator, before injuries and inconsistent play led to his departure. Now, in 2025, the Falcons find themselves again investing heavily in edge rushers, having drafted Jalen Walker and James Pierce Jr. in the first round. The hope is that this new duo will forge a much more successful path in Atlanta than McKinley did, and that the lessons from 2017 have been learned. The sting of that draft day decision serves as a cautionary tale about not just identifying talent, but also correctly evaluating and developing it. What do you remember about that 2017 draft and the Takk McKinley pick? And what are your hopes for the Falcons' new young edge rushers? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. The 2017 trade for Takk McKinley remains a significant, within Falcons history, a move that underscores the high stakes of draft day decisions and profound impact of missing on a franchise-altering talent while a rival secures one.